Hello, everybody. We begin in 1 minute. How is everyone? I'm doing great. All right, so for today, we are looking at game submissions from you guys. I got a few games to see, um, and we'll be analyzing the games together and sharing some thoughts. I actually got, let's see, how many in total? 1, 2, 3, 5 games. I hope to see all of them today because we are going to focus on the most important parts of the game, where I think they're something useful to do. And I encourage you to send me your games so we can analyze them in class. Okay. At the moment, we only got 5 games, 3 from one user and another 2, but I expect to receive more. So feel free to send the games and we'll look them together, okay? So let's begin. As usual, please just write in the chat window. I will be looking there. And first game we're going to look is one game by Shiva, playing white. This was a recent tournament. And the game started with A3. I wanted to start with this game because kind of original opening. So let's see. It turns out in one of my favorite setups, which is the hedgehog. Then, okay, so C4. Okay, after A3, what to recommend? No, you can play almost anything with white pieces and not be worse. Of course, A3 is a move that I would probably not consider ever. But okay, if you want to play this way, it's fine. It's all right. As long as you do something sound later on, it's fine. And this is what white did. Can everybody see the screen? Is everyone here? Okay, great. So after C4, we are already in some English territory. Now, my idea is, if you're going to play the English, you might as well play knight f3 on the first move or c4 on the first move. That's all I want to say about the opening. You might get the same position, and a3 is you can play it at a more useful moment. Okay. However, here after c5, knight c3, we're playing a Sicilian with reverse colors, which is also fine. Knight e7, queen c2. Debatable what to play here in the opening. Black wants to play d5. That is his move. He could also do with d6 and prepare a kingside attack. Now, one question that I have here, for instance, why not play d4 in this position? Since your opponent, I think that knight e7, yes, this is the difference of rating. The player with white is one of our students, so it's a good question. Why not d4? Because I feel like all the captures on d4 are slightly favoring white, because he might be a little bit ahead on development. This could have been avoided, I have to say, if black had played knight c6 in this position, yes? Which is also a more useful way to develop. You want to play first knight c6, then knight e7. Because you know that the knight is going to c6, but this knight on g8 can be developed in different ways. And here, yes, we have ideas with rook b1. I wouldn't say I would not play rook b1 right now. I would just play here d3 in this position. And the problem with rook b1, and I want to explain, is that, for example, after some move like this, and black plays something like a5, and eventually you just go something like d3, and he goes knight e7, and you play bishop e2, maybe the rook on b1 will be misplaced later on. Maybe you want it on c1. For example, after a move like d5, cd5, knight takes d5, maybe this rook was meant to be on the c file, attacking on the c pawn. So this is why I would go with the flexible d3. Now, on a deeper look here, after knight c6, yeah, I was going to say the same thing. This move d4 again is possible. This is absolutely possible. And however, okay, let's say c takes d4. We want to take back on d4. And if it takes on d4, we want to play knight. And we play, I don't think knight b5. Knight b5 might be a good idea here. And we're threatening this check on d6. We're gaining this pawn back. Most importantly, we want to play bishop f4. For example, on d5, bishop f4, yes? Well, d5, c takes d5, and you cannot capture back because knight c7. So that's not gonna work. So this is a good chance, okay? This is a good chance for white, the first one in the game, where d4 is a real option. Breaking the center is one of the main ideas in this type of positions. You want to play either b4, d4, and this is a good moment here. So perhaps black's move with c5 is not good at all, no? Okay, let's move on. In the game, white play queen c2. Like I said, it's a debatable option. The queen on c2 can later be misplaced. I would, if I wouldn't play d4 as an alternative, I would play d3 and bishop e2. Like I said before, I want to have the c file strictly for the rook. And we will see later what problems can the queen have on c2. It looks like nothing, but sometimes it's not the best square for the queen. So castle, d3 was played, knight c6, bishop e2. Everything looks normal here. And black played the move d5. With black, I would suggest maybe d6 and kingside attack. This is another way to play. But of course, nothing wrong with playing Sicilian Maroczy with the colors reversed. cd5, knight takes, this looks forced. White plays bishop d2. And yes, here b6 was played, castle, and knight takes on c3. In general, I think that black should not take on c3 here, since he has more space. I'm thinking either developing the pieces with bishop b7 or bishop e6. Another possible move that I like here is knight e7. And your plan is that you may want, to play a5 to restrict b4. You want to play bishop e6. This pawn wants to be on f6, and you want to restrict white from playing d4 or b4. So I don't think knight takes c3 is a very good move, but I also don't think it's bad. I think it's just a matter of taste. Bishop takes, good move, bishop takes. It would be a mistake, too passive to play b takes on c3. This structure is not that great, and this bishop would be misplaced. It should be now on b2, so you can push c4. So after bishop d2, b6, knight takes c3, bishop takes c3, queen e7. Okay, again, I think that black can develop the bishop to f5, bishop e6. This is all very logical. Bishop b7, why not? Another good square. For example, the thing about the queen on c2 is that if we ever play something like b4 after cb4 and rook c8, that we may have problems with the queen. This is what one of the problems that we can have. So here, after something like queen e7, rook d1. Here, okay, what to do with the pieces now with white? I think a good idea would be to play b3, just planning bishop b2, rook c1, and rook f e1. It's very likely that we will not be able to play d4 with white. I think that we need to wait and prepare the counterplay somehow. Black will play bishop somewhere, let's say bishop f5. We can play rook f e1. And at the moment that they play something like rook c8, it is important to have this move. Why? Because he might be threatening things like knight d4. For example, let's say we play something like rook c1, then knight b4, for instance, and we cannot take. So this is why the queen sometimes is not well placed on c2. So I want to have bishop b2 here, so I can take everything. Yeah, but knight d4, I take on d4 and I have bishop b4. E d4, c d4, bishop b4. That's why I said knight to b4. And okay, we have a normal position here. I have played this position with the colors with the black pieces many times, and I think white is fine. Should be about equal. Okay, it's slightly more pleasant. Some people would like to play this position with black. Others might prefer with white. I kind of feel like black's play is easier, but white should be fine. I mean, out of the opening, okay. Now, in the game of the queen e7, rook d1, bishop f5, rook f e1, rook c8, white now played rook c1, correcting this position of the rook on d1. Clearly, this is a good move. I think that there is nothing to do here. Okay. Important to say that this move is possible here. This was possible. And I think that white can just move the queen back to b1. But for example, here, knight d5. And okay, we can play bishop d2 here. And black can continue with rook d8. Oh, rook d8, e4. Sorry. Rook d8, e4. e4 here. Yeah, e4. Yeah, I forget about this. e4. And probably black is better, yes? Because pressure on the queen side. We have to take on e4, bishop takes e4, and now this queen to a2 this looks very passive for white. No, black can play any move, rook f d8, rook e8. Hard to say which one is best, but any developing move and he has an easy game. Now, In the game, black did not play this way. He played instead c4, and this is a mistake. This is a mistake because, you know, we have been talking about this in the lessons a lot, and you have to know when your pieces are ready, when you have to think about taking direct action, make something concrete. Here, I don't think it's the moment for black to look for concrete punishment. I think he should increase the pressure, he should improve his position. His worst piece at the moment, can anyone tell? How should black play maybe here? To me, this looks like a good decision here. Yeah, rook fd8, improving the pieces, because white has difficulties finding a plan, an active plan at least. And from here, yes, it's still hard. I mean, you are not gonna win it very soon or anything. I'm thinking that normally I would like to get my queen out of the c file, but here I don't know if e4 is working. It might be working. And black is better. He has some pressure on the queen side. I think that this position is just slightly better for black. Has the d file. Okay, maybe not too much, but we can play queen a2. But bishop takes c3, for example, rook takes c3, and now we should look for something like knight to e5, perhaps. Or bishop f3, knight e5. Here it would be a moment to think about concrete action. Your position is already improved. You have all the pieces ready. You want to seize the initiative. You want to get the rook in the 7th rank, or play the knight to e5, attack on g2. Bishop f3, knight d4. That's interesting. But I think that knight e5 makes a lot of sense in this position, not giving the bishop, because the problem with knight d4 is that I think I can stop the threat, yes? You play knight d4, and now maybe just bishop somewhere, like here. Can you hear me now? Can everyone hear me? Okay, so it's not a problem on my end, apparently. So no, let's not trade on f3. Let's not trade on f3. Instead, let's play knight e5. And the idea here, because what do you see here is that you have this open file here, and black has, and this rook on c3 is bad. This rook likely will have to come back to c1 and be on d1. So maybe here you just want to play something like knight e5, and if it takes, queen takes on e5, your queen has a lot of pressure on this side, your bishop pressures on g2, and you are threatening rook d2. And okay, black is doing really well. Okay, so let's move on in the game, because more stuff happened. And after rook c1, black plays c4, e4, good move, c takes d3, bishop takes d3, bishop g4. Okay, now black is threatening knight d4. So white played this move, and black played rook cd8. Again, another mistake. Here, playing with the same piece again, not developing and not creating any powerful threats. The right move in this position probably something like queen f6, to take on f3 and destroy the pawn structure on the king side. This would have caused more trouble for white. However, in the game, black played rook cd8, h3, and now knight cd4. I mean knight d4. Pay attention, because here an interesting position arises. Bishop takes d4, bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, rook takes d4. Okay, my assessment of this position is that it's equal position, but it's not a draw. It's not yet a draw, and many things can happen. Now, I think that white is a tiny bit better, okay? What's my thinking? My thinking is that I have the open C file, and I have a good bishop. Exactly. I have the better bishop compared to this one, because my bishop can attack f7, and his bishop is far from that. So the first thing you have to do in this opposite color bishops middle game is make your bishop active, create pressure, create threats. Here, white should play bishop c4 with the immediate idea of bishop d5, and then play along the c file. We can also create some threats h4, h5, for example. We play g3, king g2, h4, h5, and we play on the light squares. And we don't have to do, yes, black should play king h8 and f5, but we will ignore it. We will ignore it most of the time. I think, for example, something like king h8, of course, is possible. We would play bishop d5. He can play f5. And now, okay, pawn takes on e4 is a real threat. Can we take on f5? Is that a good idea? He would likely play e4 later on. Okay, let me. Thinking that it is also possible to move the queen somewhere. You know, move the queen around the c file. If he takes on e4, bishop takes e4, and later you will play f3. I have to say that I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced, and my instinct tells me that maybe I should take on f5, but also looks strange, because he will take here, and I don't have time. He will play e4, and that is something that I don't want him to do. So, hard to say. But yeah, queen c3 looks good, and I want queen c7 maybe. Unless I have a better move, but pawn takes on e4 looks like a threat. It is a threat. Okay, so still, yeah, okay, but I mean, they will be weak. A position like this, I don't think is a great problem. No, bishop takes on e4, and it doesn't. Okay, what now? No, something like this, perhaps g3, king g2. You don't really have to play f3 at the moment. Yeah, white is better. You also have this long-term idea, playing on the light squares and push this pawn to h5. Attack the king. Okay, this is something that is minimal, but is something. It's not not that bad. Okay, let's move on, because we have plenty of games. After white in the game played rook c6, and there was not much story after this. Rook e2. This is a solid way to play. I think white had already a draw in mind. And here queen f6 was played, which immediately kills the game. I have to say that you still can play with white here for something more. I mean, you can play g3 here, without being afraid of rook h1, because this position probably favors white. You're going to have your bishop on d5, your rook on c7, your king on g2. There is nothing to worry about. So there is no hurry to trade the queens here. g3 is still possible, and you want to play h4, and okay, game goes on. Hard to say, probably a little bit better for white, but equality should be maintained. No, something like rook c1 maybe. Just want to trade the rooks. Okay, let's move on to the next game. This was interesting. Okay, we have John Harman against Patil and Uprita. And here, this was a very interesting game that finished in a draw. But I think that white was pushing all the time. Let's see. So d4, d5, c4, e6, knight f3, knight f6, and we have a Catalan opening. So after this, bishop g2, bishop e7, castle, castle, dc4, this is the main line, and here white plays knight to e5. Black played knight c6. This is all very, very well known. Knight e5, knight c6, knight takes on c6. Okay, usually the move is bishop takes c6, but I think that knight c6 is very interesting. It leads to sharper positions. So b takes c6, and now knight a3. So here the point is, if white gets to take on c4, he has a better position for nothing. He has a better structure. Sorry, I'm a little bit with the spring coming. Little bit allergic. So yeah, why can the bishop take on c6? Well, let's put it this way. Black is up a pawn, and this pawn on c6 is just weakness. Taking this pawn on c6 will cost you tempo, because the bishop cannot stay for long on c6. I mean, black will just play rook b8. And at the moment you move this bishop, then c5 is coming, and he's getting all his pieces out. Also, bishop d7 and bishop b7 are threats, and the rook is active now, no? So he's bringing a lot of pressure on the b file as well. So we don't want to take there. But this pawn on c4 is something that we want. So knight a3. And here I understand that black should take on a3. Instead, he played bishop a6. The main line goes bishop takes on a3, b takes on a3, and bishop a6. Holding on to the pawn on c4. White now plays queen d2. The idea of queen d2 is, this is all very advanced, but the queen wants to go to a5 and put pressure on black's weaknesses. Something like this. And now a4 with the idea of bishop a3 and bishop c5. This is really, really advanced theory. Queen d6, rook d1, knight d5. And this is a game in which black was more or less fine. But okay, white has compensation, interesting compensation. Two bishops, center, and black has a pawn up and a solid position. So it's a game, no? Let's see what happened, because in the actual game, black did not take on a3, and he played bishop a6. All right, after bishop a6, white now went exactly queen a4, a good move, queen c8, knight takes c4, and white is better by far. Like I said before, you have everything you can ask for in a Catalan. You have this bishop on g2 is a monster. Your opponent has an awful structure with the double pawns on c6 and c7. And you got this knight on c4, which is beautiful. You're going to play knight e5 or knight a5. Bishop b5 was played, logical, attack and defend. Queen c2, knight d5. Here, bishop d2 was played. I think that this was a good move. I have to say that it would also be interesting to play b3 here. And I feel like maybe white was worried about knight b4, but if you play queen d2, if you play something like queen d2, yeah, we are on this one. Hi, John. So here, I was saying that if you play something like queen d2, your queen is great on d2 here, and this knight is going to get attacked here with a3, and when he gets to d5, he's going to get attacked again with e4, and the bishop will find a great square here on b2. I think that white is much better. Okay, in the game, white played bishop d2, bishop f6 was played, e3 looks normal, rook b8, and rook fc1 was played. Okay, let's stop for a moment in this position. And one of the ideas that I always, have when I get good positions out of the opening, or things that are not supposed to happen, like let's say your opponent plays badly, unexpected, and you get everything. The idea is, let's say you get a great advantage, and then you don't want your opponent to get back in the game. So your thinking is now, what does my opponent want? What is he trying to do? And how can I, interfere with all his ideas? Because my position is great no matter what I play. I have like 3-4 moves here that are great. I feel like we can play after rook b8. He's threatening bishop takes c4. This is like his direct threat. Queen c4, and he's taking this pawn on b2. So I think that this is his idea. b3 might be a move, and we might want to play a4. But b3 opens this diagonal, yes? And now c5 is a move. And this is not what I want. Okay, I want to play e4 now. Without going into any deep calculations, which we are going to do now, I want to say that this is not the kind of play that I want to get into. Of course, it's up to everyone's taste, but I have like a great position, and I shouldn't be calculating anything. I should be just improving my position. Here, knight b6. I will exploit this pain here. I don't want to be into these complications. I don't want to know about this. If I'm playing this game with white, because now it just looks so clear. This pawn is hanging, yes? I cannot play rook c1. So let's go back. I think that here things are not going in my best interests with white. Now my question is, For example, if black wants to play c5, can I play b4 here? Knight b6. Knight b6, okay. Yeah, knight b6 I didn't like. Oh, but knight b6 loses a pawn, yes? Minimum. C takes b6 and now rook fc1. I said minimum because I'm not planning to take it directly. I want to play a4 and take on c6 afterwards. Big advantage for white, I'd say. Yeah, if we play c5, we can take everything on c5. This is something I like for white, yes. So yeah, I think rook fc1 is not a bad move. What? So you're saying that if b4, queen a6, and now rook c1, and bishop a4, this is the idea now, no? Okay, so this makes some sense because now the b4 pawn hangs. Okay. Okay, I'm convinced. This is tactically wrong. So, okay, so rook fc1 is played, and then he plays c5. I have to say, just one more look here before queen a6, rook c1, bishop a4. Yeah, I don't have a squares. That's the problem, no? I was thinking I could have something like queen a3, for example, if I play queen d3, because I'm like one move away from consolidating, no? If I play a3, but now this knight takes b4, and here I wanted to play something like queen a3, but probably it's not nothing good from this. So I guess I have to take, and black should be fine. Yeah, okay. Not, I mean, there is always this, no? There is always this, I think. Because if the queen takes on d3, after knight takes d3, I take on c6, and you get this super nice position, no? Should be fine somehow. Yeah, it doesn't look that great. So let's go back to the game. I missed queen a6. So rook c1, black plays c5, e4, knight b4, bishop takes, c takes, e5, and still this is great for white. Black played bishop g5, and now white went rook d1. A move that is not bad, but probably even more energetic was f4. The main point here, after seeing f4, I think, if once he goes bishop e7, the main point would have been to realize what to play here, and I think that knight e3 would have been good. The thing is that you have to have d5 in the next moves, no? You have to have d5 and take with the knight. So this looks like a great position for white still. The two bishops are not impressive. And you can improve your position, bishop e4, king g2, and put pressure on the c file. Rook d1 was played. This. Okay, queen a6, b3. It still looks like white is much better. Rook d8, bishop e4. This move they all look normal here. And now knight to e3. Excellent. I think this is a very nice regrouping. The pawn on d4 is not that weak. We have d5. So c6 was played, and now rook d2. I like this move a lot. You are better. Your worst piece is this on a1. This is a weakness here on d4. The only plan that black has is this and this, maybe to put some pressure with queen b6 included. No direct threat, so I think white played here really well. Rook d2 and rook d1. It's a great position. From black cannot play c5, play queen b6, knight back to c4. Okay, the last resource would be for black to take on c4. And I think that this would have been an option, but you know, after queen takes c4, we have this position where black still has some weaknesses on h7. So I think it's not entirely equal. That being said, I think that f4 and knight e3 was even much more aggressive, not allowing, not even this option. But this option looks pleasant for white as well. Can he play something like queen b5? Is that a move? This is a move. Not so clear, no? I think it's... Yeah, many good moves, rook c2. But what I'm thinking is that, okay, black is worse, but an ending would be a great achievement for black. There are some drawing chances. This is interesting as well, no? Queen b2 here. Maybe a move. This may be a move. With the plan of bishop b1 and queen c2. Actually, you may not need to do anything at all. You still have this plan. For example, I can move my king to h2 and push f4, f5. So this is something that happened later in the game. Knight c4, I think that black should eliminate this knight, no matter what. I think that he should enter in this opposite color bishop middle game where white is still better, but at least there will be some chances. Now white gets a very strong position, a6, f5. This is just great. I mean, I have to say that Um, Personally, I would probably play something like king h2 first. Just because black is so tied up, and when he plays a move like a6, that means that maybe he wants to play c5, and you know that with d5 you are much better. And I just get the feeling that whatever he does is going to be worse for him. So I might not go into anything direct, but again, this is about the style, I guess. Some people will say that I have to play more energetic with f5, and I think that king h2 is very practical. Okay, so f5, c5 was played. Now we go in concrete play, but white is better. Take on e6. First, we just weaken the king, and we have now d5. The threat is d6, of course. So no time for bishop takes d4 in this position. Has to take on d5. And here, white took with the rook, which was not the strongest way to play. Bishop d5 apparently was the winning way. After king h8, queen g6 with the idea of bishop e4, and on bishop e8 he has queen e6. This is excellent, yes. He has no moves. What happened in the game after rook takes d5, still I think that you are better. Queen g6 now. And yeah, this was an interesting moment. And if he plays rook d8, okay, bishop takes e4 is not working because bishop takes, and after queen e5, bishop d3, this will be made. Yeah, this doesn't look good. You have to go king g8. I think queen h7. You have to go king f7. Okay, king f8. If king f7, I think what's the best way to deal with this? Bishop c4 and rook f1 mate. Yeah, there are many ways, but king f8 is the only try. And here, I think just queen h8. Oh, rook f1, yes. Bishop f6, only way. Did I just made a blunder? Bishop c4 and queen c8, and he doesn't have the check on h3. He doesn't have check on h3. Correct. So let's go back to the game because I think that white still was winning here. After king h8, queen g6 was still possible with the idea of bishop e4. And if black plays rook d8, here we have an amazing move. No, bishop. Oh, yeah, I can be slower, definitely. Yeah, knight d6 in this position. Knight d6 in this position is absolutely crushing. This is importance of the in-between moves. You know, after the capture on d6, you can play bishop e4. No need to recapture back. And white is still winning. Well, Yeah, it is winning. No, if king g8, I can play just e takes d6. Rook f1. There is this bishop on b5. So we might not want that. So it's a pity because this was a great game for white, but it still was there. Maybe okay, maybe after queen e4, yeah, things are not so clear anymore. Black play rook d8, and it's difficult to get the pieces in. Rook d2. Okay, the last try I would say that would have been moving the knight to e3 back. I think that this would have been the last try to continue playing, not allowing black to get rid of the bishop. And yes, knight g2, knight f4, and go after the weakness of g6. Or play rook d2 and rook f2. And the game goes on. I think white still has great chances, unless there is something super concrete here. But this is the way. I think this is the last call. Because after rook d2, what happens in the game is that black plays rook f8, rook f2, and this is just, I wouldn't say that it's over yet, but it's close. Because the bishop and the queen alone cannot mate. He always has this king g8 and he runs. Yeah, 93 is still here. 93 is still here. I have to, yeah, I also have to say this. It's still 93, knight g2, knight f4. The game goes on. White has a better king. I think much better position. Definitely not allowed black to take on c4 anymore. That's, you have to take that option off the game. So what I think failed here in this game, just personally, was more thinking on your opponent's move, no? After king e3, bishop takes c4 is just a draw. I think this position is a draw. You take here. Well, we could take with the pawn. We could take with the pawn and still fight this position here. But I feel like the king is too open, and it will get also some difficulties to, you know, play. Maybe something like queen f8 is fine. The problem with bishop takes c4 is that I think that I wasn't sure, but maybe this is a desperate attempt to force the draw. Can it be? Let's say queen d4. Oh, we want to play queen d1 here, but queen a8 check is not a problem. Oh, we have bishop d8 also. Okay, so more than one resource. No, I like the game. I like the game a lot. I think that the most important part was here not allowing black to take on c4 at all. You still can play on with with the knight. You're in a position of control here. Should continue playing. And it almost feels as you have an extra pawn also, because this pawn on c5 totally doomed here, totally blocked. So for instance, I play here, you give me one check here. Even this ending, I'm not going for the ending. I'm just saying, even this ending here is totally unpleasant. E6, E7, it feels like white has an extra pawn. Of course, I'm not saying that I'm going for the ending. I probably play king g2 and create threats with knight f5, e6, and so on. Okay, let's see what else we got. Yeah, we have another game by John. Let's go over this game briefly. And by the way, guys, send me games. Yeah, I'm going over. We don't have much time left, but I want to go over this one that you play with the black pieces. E4, C6, D4, D5, E takes, C takes, bishop D3, knight C6, knight F3, queen C7. Okay. So for all those, thank you. Keep sending games. Okay, so queen C7 wants to stop white from playing bishop F4. I think at this point it's not really necessary. Like queen C7 is played only after white plays C3, we can play queen C7. But here, once he plays knight F3, I think black's most natural move is to go bishop G4. I mean, the whole concept in this exchange variation is that black has some problems developing this bishop. If he allows, if white allows bishop G4, we should do it. To understand this, perhaps I should refer to the main line where we go C3, for instance, and black plays knight F6. Now white plays bishop F4. I'm going to. I think it's just the address of the academy, 365 Chess Academy. I mean, how was it? I will. The address was posted on Facebook. I will find it and I will. Add it here. Just a moment. Give me 1 second. Just checking this. Gonna have the address in a moment. So it's okay. I will find it and I will paste it here. But I think it is. I think it's this address. So let's go back to what I was saying. This is the main line of the exchange, Carol. And here you can see that white does not develop the knight, his knight from F3. And here, for example, if we play bishop G4, then white plays queen B3. And he's attacking B7. And after knight A5, he plays queen A4, forcing bishop D7, and now queen C2. And he's not developing the knight. He wants now to play knight D2 and knight F3. And once we concede and we play E6, Yeah, okay, we can always do that, but the bishop on g7 is always passive against this structure of c3, d4. But once we concede, then he just develops the knight. So this is like, background history. This is a famous game featured against Petrosian. I think Petrosian played queen b6 in this position, if I'm not remembering wrong. How should I play? Just a quick question. I give you a hint, opponent's idea. Pay attention to the opponent's idea. No? No clue? What is the opponent's idea with queen b6? What is his next move? What does he want with queen b6? Ask yourself this. No, not bishop f5. I think a4 featured played because the threat was bishop b5. Actually, I think it was something like that. Rook c8 maybe, knight d2, queen b6, and then feature played a4. Stopping the opponent from playing bishop b5. And after knight c6, then queen b1, getting out of queen b4, of knight b4. Anyway, let's go back to the game just quickly. I have to say something about this game. I just want to, get familiar with the opening so you understand what's going on. In the game where I played knight f3, queen c7, okay, I think I already made clear that queen c7 was not necessary here. Castle, bishop g4, c3, e6, rook e1, and here, what I think that, okay, black played knight f6, which I cannot say it is a mistake, but keeping the flexibility of the position, keeping all the ops of free development here, and bishop d6 looks more to the point. You can later decide if you want to play knight e7 with bishop f5 or knight f6, and also you're threatening to gain a pawn here on h2, so h3 probably necessary, and now bishop h5, and we want knight e7 and bishop g6. And black has a very good position. The long-term plan is the minority attack on the queen side with b5 and b4. So in the game, what happens is black play knight f6. It's not a bad move. I'm just saying bishop d6 is a little bit more flexible. Bishop g5, bishop d6. The bishop goes to d6 anyway. h3, bishop h5, knight d2. Black played this. I'm not sure if you have to go h6 in this position. I think that it would be bishop g6 a better move. We want to get rid of this bishop on d3, and we want to castle short and start a queenside attack with b5, b4. So I think this move is not that great because after bishop e3, now this is not possible because it would be so weakening on e6. Yes? So he played knight to e7 to make bishop g6 work. Bishop f6, gf6, g4. I think black has the in-between move, rook g8. followed by bishop g6. If it wasn't for this move, then it might be lost because bishop g6 is a blunder. Just take and take on e6. So I was saying that this 97 c4, and this is where I'm going to stop in the analysis. What would you play here with black? What would you do here? b6, bishop f4. I think that there is something very important about the opening and the middle game, that you cannot really concede the opponent a permanent advantage. And sometimes we do this by not wanting to take any risk. Castle is the move played in the game, and I don't think it's a good one. Because after c5, bishop f4, white is just better, permanently better. There is nothing black can do in this type of position. We have to open up the game, even if the king is in the center, and we must take on c4. And after knight c4, just castle. Just castle. If he takes on d6, that is great. Simplifications will help black in this type of position. White has the isolated d4 pawn. So I think that black still has a great position. I mean, after a move like rook c1, I can play knight d5, and I will play rook c8 and bishop g6 eventually. And I prefer black's position here. But what I want to say is that about the decision that we make, no? Your opponent makes an active move, and then we say we don't want to know anything about it. We don't want complications. And by not wanting complications, then c5 and you're worse. Instead, you can damage permanently his structure, and now you have something to play for. Okay? Okay, guys, you got the email, you got everything, so thank you for being here. I expect to receive more games from all of you. I'll try to see as many as possible. Think about the game that, you know, where you struggle, where you made mistakes that you want to correct, things that you don't know, okay? I had the email here. Can you see it? I just posted it in the chat. So just send me your games and we'll look at them in class. Thank you all. Have a nice day and see you again soon. Bye bye.